second topic now, which is also a belter, and it's about the basically Islamophobia in the opposition Labour Party, the party that most Muslims in this country vote for. So this is the Labour Muslim Network. They released a new report a few days ago, which found huge levels of dissatisfaction and distrust in the Labour Party by its own Muslim members and supporters. The report found that 46% of Muslim members and supporters believe the Labour Party does not represent the Muslim community effectively. The survey also found 59% of Muslim members and supporters do not feel well represented by the Labour Party or the leadership of the Labour Party, and 55% said they do not trust the leadership of the Labour Party to tackle Islamophobia effectively. So a little earlier on, I did an interview with a Labour councillor in Tower Hamlets, East London. His name is Puru, Miah, and he's on the National Executive Council of Momentum, the basically the left-wing supporting Labour movement. And Puru Miah is also a blogger and a writer. And as you'll see, Puru is basically defending and saying that despite everything, Muslims should still stay in the Labour Party and fight for their rights. I should say that this interview is divided into three parts. It lasts for about 15 minutes. I am going to have to break it into three parts because the software that I'm using basically doesn't allow me to use it kind of continuously. But anyway, without further ado, here is Puru Miah. So Puru, obviously, you know, there was lots of enthusiasm for Labour under Jeremy Corbyn, amongst Muslims I'm talking about. But since Keir Starmer has taken over, let's put it this way, there's less enthusiasm. They feel that the party has taken a right-wing turn. It doesn't represent Muslim aspirations anymore. Issues like, you know, Zionism, Kashmir, some very controversial positions taken by the party. I know myself, many Muslim friends, acquaintances, you know, who've literally ripped up their Labour cards. They can't support this party anymore. Why are you sticking in the party?
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for having this interview with Five Pillars. Before I answer, I just want to anticipate any complaints that are put forward. So I previously wrote for Five Pillars, and some sad individual wrote into the council complaining. And I just want to say that the Extremism Analysis Unit is basically has no policy or legal standing, and that's a House of Lords question. And I'm proud of the anti-prevent platform that I stood as a Labour councillor, and I look forward to the day when that policy is changed in line with the sentiments that Andy Burnham, the Greater Manchester Mayor, said so. So if that sad individual still wants to put that complaint in, they're more than welcome to. They've got my answer. But in terms of basically, I do understand how the Muslim community does feel. If you look at all kind of demographics, we're at the bottom of it in terms of health inequalities, jobs, economics, overcrowding, housing, etc. And Jeremy's leadership was a hope and was a breath of fresh air. And what it is we just have to fight to, yes, the leadership has changed, but we have to fight to keep the party on the same platform, on a platform that stands up for the majority members of our community, majority of whom earn less than £25,000, and not turn it into a party that's backed by millionaires or billionaire backers. And it's a work in progress. And I just want to give an example from Tower Hamlets. In the 70s and 80s, when Bangladeshi Muslims first applied to join the Labour Party, they used to say it was full. There's no space. And then they put up an independent candidate, beat the Labour candidate. And all of a sudden, the Labour Party started accepting applications. So all throughout, there's been struggle in terms of Muslim participation in the Labour Party. And it's a constant struggle. You know, we've had issues, famous cases in Tower Hamlets of people being chucked out just after they won an internal election, a Muslim individual. But again, you know, we're here, we're not going to go, and we're going to change this party to make sure that it represents the Muslim community and other oppressed sections of society that are seeking justice.
But Puru, isn't the Labour Party a bit of a lost cause? I mean, haven't the right basically won? You know, they've defeated Corbyn, they've defeated the left's project. Do you think that the left has any chance of recalibrating the party anymore?
I think what it is we have to accept the reality and facts on the ground. The facts are, and it's similar to America, that we have a two-party system. There isn't any other electoral vehicle for Muslims and other oppressed groups to go to apart from the Labour Party. Now, just like in America, the Democrats, people have gone in, shifted the policy position, got representatives that speak on behalf of their community, not just merely represent them, but actually speak on their experiences, and started shifting the platform of the Democrats. So you have one of the most left-wing Democratic platform in history, and that's what we have to do in the Labour Party. It's not just a single strategy of leader, but it's a multifaceted. And you don't have to. I would encourage people to join the Labour Party, but if you don't want to join the Labour Party, join a pressure group to advocate for issues that affect the Muslim community, and then hold your elected representatives to account and shift the policies of the Labour Party and Labour councils as well. So the Labour Party is not in power in central government, but is in power in most of the local authorities with large Muslim communities. Start shifting those policies, but etc. Like issues like prevent, issues like COVID as well. You start asking questions like why isn't the public health budget increased? Why haven't there more staff been assigned to public health in terms of track and trace? Look at Oldham, which has a Muslim leadership and a deputy Muslim leader that put through a innovative COVID-19 track and trace, and it has the lowest infection rates in Greater Manchester.
Puru, what are your thoughts on the treatment of Jeremy Corbyn? Obviously, he was suspended from the party because of his reaction to human rights reports saying that there was anti-Semitism in the party under his watch. He released a statement. I thought it was a pretty bland statement, defending his position. He was suspended, then he was reinstated after, basically backing down at least halfway and appeasing the leadership. What do you think of Jeremy Corbyn's treatment by the leadership?
Well, the result speaks for itself. Yesterday, there was a unanimous decision to reinstate him, to reinstate his membership. So the Labour Party is a mass membership party. It's not a one-man show. It's the members that have sovereignty. It's conference that is the sovereign body, and the NEC is a representative of conference. And I think the leadership need to wake up and understand that they're in a mass membership party, and divided parties don't win. That's the reality. And that decision shows for itself. It was the unanimous decision.
But there's this perception amongst Muslims now, Puru, that Labour is effectively an anti-Palestinian party where you can't criticize Israel harshly. If you try to do that, they will crack down on you. Is that a fair reflection? You're on the inside. Yeah, I'm a member of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign, and I'm proud of that. Etc. Me and another councillor expressed our views in various ways at full council on the Palestine issue. So I think it's a fight to fight for. That's what it is. Don't give up the fight. Argue, win people over, etc. And we need to make a distinction between solidarity with the Palestinian people and not go on and not cross that line in terms of prejudice, and that's that line that we need to be aware of. As long as we're positively advocating Palestinian rights, universal rights of self-determination, of basically universal human rights, and anti-discrimination. Let's be frank, there are laws that are discriminatory. As long as we speak to the facts, I don't think anybody could say anything. But that's what we need to do. We need to stick to the facts and emphasize that these are universal human rights. They're not just particular human rights in certain jurisdictions. Puru, I think a lot of people watching this will get your point that, as you say, two-party system, we're a minority in this country. We can't just isolate in ghettos. We have to have some influence in the mainstream. I think most people would get that point. But also, I think a lot of Muslims feel that, at some point, we've got to make a stand. If we're getting slapped around like this and our views are not being taken into consideration, ultimately, we've got to take a stand. Just like the Jewish community under Corbyn, they took a stand, right? So I don't see Muslims taking this stand. Do you think that Yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, I definitely, I think what it is there's a saying that when you point a finger, there's four fingers pointing back at you. I think we as a Muslim community need to have a hard think about the representatives that we put forward. Definitely, look at the councils that are run in Muslim areas. Are they advocating policies that benefit the Muslim community, etc.? And there needs to be a hard kind of question as to why, time and time again, the Muslim community puts up representatives, to be frank, who can't hold a pen, let alone give a speech. And those questions need to be asked. And the problem starts from there. The people ain't going to take you seriously if you send a donkey to the council chamber. I'm sorry, that's what it is. They'll think the rest of you are donkeys.
Puru, I want to ask you about the Labour Muslim Network report that just came out a few days ago. Quite damning. So I'll throw a couple of stats at you. So 40% or 46% of Muslim members and supporters of Labour believe the Labour Party does not represent the Muslim community effectively. 59% do not feel well represented by the leadership of the party, and 55% said they do not trust the leadership of the party to tackle Islamophobia effectively. Your thoughts?
Well, it doesn't surprise me, given the experiences within the Labour Party. But again, it's a work in progress. And I just want to give an example of what we're doing locally in Tower Hamlets. Like in our local party, which has a large Muslim population and a large Muslim representation on the executive of the party, we instituted workshops on Islamophobia. With Hope Not Hate, not just on Islamophobia, but other forms of racism, like anti-Black racism as well, but also on anti-Semitism as well, workshop with Jewish members. We're doing training on subconscious bias, with encouraging white members to attend, to understand racism, that racism is not just about behavior, but it's a structural issue and a mental issue that you need to overcome. And so it is a work in progress, and that's what we need to do. Yes, I do welcome the Labour Muslim Network report and the recommendations, but we need to start from the ground up. We need to basically challenge Islamophobia where we see it, the narrative of Islamophobia, and the narrative, for example, that Muslims are an alien people, that Muslims haven't had a relationship with Britain. Like, I come from the Bangladeshi Muslim community, like the East India Company. That's a 400-year relationship in East London. They used to have warehouses there. So Muslims constantly were coming into East London. And it's there in the history books, etc. So this kind of narrative that Muslims are some kind of recent phenomena is totally ridiculous. We're part of this country. We're part of its traditions. And we need to say it loud and clear. We're not the other.
What about, another stat which jumped out at me in that report was that 29% of Labour members have directly experienced Islamophobia in the party, and 37% have witnessed it. That's quite shocking, isn't it? You've literally, within party meetings, you guys are seeing Islamophobia.
Yeah, and that's what it's the nature. So especially within, say, London, you have different demographics who live in the same neighborhood, don't interact. That's a reality. And the only one of the areas they interact is in the Labour Party. And obviously, people are going to come with their prejudices, extreme prejudices, prejudices like, for example, that Muslims are somehow structurally anti-Semitic, or Muslims are structurally misogynist. So you're guilty until you're proven innocent. And we need to challenge that. We're human beings. We have the same issues as the other community. And why is it a blanket condemnation? And why do we have to prove our innocent? The other prevailing attitude, and it's reflections of society. That's what it is, that reflects within, is Muslims have some kind of dual loyalty, that we're suspicious. And this isn't new. This always historically has been in the UK with religious minorities. Irish Catholics had the same issue, and now it's the Muslim community. And we basically need to tackle it within the Labour Party, but outside in society as well, and challenge those narratives.
What do you want to see Labour do with this report? Because obviously, when the anti-Semitism, furore blew up, they commissioned a report into it. They suspended loads of members, and it was news constantly. What do you practically want the Labour Party to do following this report?
I think actions speak louder than words, and I think what it is you had the same issue with the Democrat Party after the war in America. If you say that you're a party of minorities, then actions speak louder than words. So in Labour, yes, there's a conservative government, but in Labour-controlled local authorities, Muslim and minority leadership should be encouraged. Why is it that you have a majority minority area and the entire council leadership is white? What kind of message that gives? So that's what we need to push for, that actions speak louder than words. And in terms of appointments as well, in terms of local authority officers, head teachers in schools as well. Why is it that all the cleaners have a darker pigmentation, but all the managers have a lighter pigmentation? And it's been done before. When Ken Livingstone came in at the GLC, they made a push to appoint minorities into local authority positions, and so it can be done. So actions speak louder than words. We need to go back to our communities, ask hard questions to so-called leaders as to what they're doing to address Islamophobia in those positions that they're in. And if they don't give the answers that we want, then we should put people in who give us the answers that we want. And like I said, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys.
All right, that was Puru Miah, who